Alright, hello everyone, my name is Andres Diaz, me and Will are back again for another spectacular Marvel Plus talk, but also slash DC Plus talk. Today is our Christmas festy discussion. We decided to do a two episode on two different shows from Marvel and DC. Of course, today we're going to discuss X Men Revolution episode season 2 called On Angel Wings. And then, of course, DC, of course, we picked the Justice League. Well, I picked the Justice League episode in season 2, of course, Comfort and Joy. Will, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Andres?
Uh, oh, pretty good. Is there in it? Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I'm hearing you all right.
Okay, it's maybe me or something like that. But
Okay.
we'll continue. But anyway, you had a chance to see these two episodes as we designed.
Yeah, I did.
All right, that's good. That's good. And I guess let's. I don't know which episode you wanted to just go in discuss it. You want to discuss the X Men one or the Justice League one?
Yeah, let's start with X-Men.
Okay, so I guess quick thing. Have you seen X Men Revolution? You know,
No, I haven't.
where uh
No, I'd never
episode, I
seen
guess.
it before. Oh.
Okay, so okay, that's what I mean. First time, first time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I guess just in general, what you thought about this episode as a Christmas episode, and uh, what's your overall opinion on this episode? Let's go from there.
Yeah. No. I thought it was nice to see the X-Men kind of acting as a family, like when they're all exchanging gifts at the beginning. And then I thought it served as a good
Yeah.
introduction to Angel.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. So, so,
Yeah.
so I guess.
It sounds like
Oh
there's a
man,
lot of
this is so.
lag. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, ugh. Yeah, it started to pop up in John's podcast like 2 days ago. Ugh.
Mhm.
It was like after recording. Yeah, so yeah, oh my god. It was after that. Oh my god. Thank goodness that podcast wasn't affected. But anyway, so yeah, I agreed. I think this episode was a good introduction to Angel in this series. He is not part of the team X Men Revolution in this lineup, which is interesting. And I like how they make him be this sort of what is it, like it's a one for life type of protagonist, where in a very superhero slash mutant way, where
Mhm.
like he's very like, after discovering his powers, because we don't know how long he has his wings for time. Um, and they'll powers, and so
Mhm.
I enjoyed him like deciding to do some heroic things, which is something we've seen in a couple of the X Men characters. Like I think one character from the early days of X Men issues sort of did that, but then he went in a different path. So this was kind of cool to do that, and this episode was very important to reintroduce Magneto after his big
Mhm.
arc that we did in the first season of X Men Evolution. So I thought that was pretty good. And it was good to pair up Rogue and Cyclops because they sort of did like hinting at that there's like a sort of interest that Rogue likes from Cyclops, and so it kind
Mhm.
of delves into that kind of teen drama,
Mhm.
which is pretty good. So, and as a festive episode, I just thought that it doesn't hit you the hard Christmas festy kind of season. I like how beginning okay, this is a Christmas, so but then it's kind of slowly doesn't become one,
Mhm.
but it has a lot of the themes of just where we at in like at our life, reflecting on what should we do, like it's almost like a revolution for Angel in a way, like now he has these mutant powers. What's like his next step to do, and in this crisis he's having,
hmm hmm
So, I don't know what you think. And do you like the portrayal of Angel in this episode?
Yeah, I did. I mean, he was a little like stoic. Like I feel like he didn't talk too much. I think I would have liked to hear more about his backstory,
Huh.
but
Yeah,
um, but yeah, no,
I,
I really
I
like. Oh, sorry.
no, you go ahead. The thing about I
Um,
and I or you know about more about Angel,
just
because
from
like
the
I
movies.
just from the movies. Well, I mean, the movies actually hit what Wharton is. Like, he is a rich, like his father is
hmm
always involved. If you watch Wolverine X-Men, his father does get involved with the mutant stuff with Senator Kelly and the whole Sentinel program and all that.
hmm
And different from X-Men Last Stand, where he's the creator of the cure there. And so
hmm
yeah, this one it's like, okay, so he's a rich person, like I think they convey who Wharton is, because like, okay, when we go to New York, we get to the building, and it's like it says Wharton Tower, so
hmm
like right away you know that he's like a high society person. And then and then you get the sense, okay, he has parents and they don't know about his chain, which is sometimes, depending what the writers do with that, sometimes his parents knows beforehand or is after he joins the X-Men,
hmm hmm
So I think this stuff
Yeah.
conveyed it more well, because I've been currently been watching the '92 version, and in '92 version they never like, they do address his society class status. Like he helped Apocalypse. Like, he doesn't know Apocalypse is in this project to cure mutants in the first season, but like he fund investment the project that was going to cure mutants, but in reality, it was going to turn into the mutants to the Four Horsemen of Apocalypse. So, I think this episode did a better job of explaining that than the '90s one. So,
hmm
but yeah, yeah. I guess one thing I sort of like about this episode, that people can accept with powers. I think it's just depending. Like, if someone is that greedy, like, can easily turn around the situation. It's like, I was kind of in this episode, and I was kind of shocked how Magneto just is trying to manipulate the situation, and then the fact he's trying to harm the humans is like, he's seeing how people can accept, but so like like so evil to just to try to manipulate Angel to join his brother the mutants or somewhat.
hmm hmm
So, but yeah, a very, I don't know what you think about Magneto's characterization on this episode. Um, so
Um, yeah, I liked that he was like being kind of underhanded and trying to like manipulate Angel into joining the Brotherhood.
yeah,
Um, I don't know, made him seem more like devious than normal, which was good because he is a villain, even if
yes,
sometimes he's a little like morally gray. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This show, um, you know, makes a very clear direction to make Magneto be the main villain here than the '90s show. Like,
hmm
the '90s show is more, he's more um like he is always trying to help the X-Men, despite he's a villain. They lean
hmm
on more
hmm
the sympathetic Magneto side, and then here this show actually does more of the evil side more. which is good.
Hmm.
And then you get into Cyclops and Rogue, which I really like about this episode. Uh, they like the two characters I never expect to see characterization, and I really liked this episode with Rogue and Cyclops. I thought they really had good chemistry, and what the writers do in this 22 episode minute uh episode to trying to find Angel. Um, I I don't know. You're a big fan of Rogue or Cyclops, but do you like the pairing of these two as main characters for this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
I kind of liked Rogue like going after Cyclops a little bit. I don't know, I thought it was like an interesting dynamic. I am a fan of Cyclops. He's always been one of my favorite X-Men ever since like playing the like X-Men arcade game as like a very little kid. I'd
Oh,
always pick
oh
Cyclops.
my God. Yeah, that game was good.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh my God. That I remember that. It was some
Yeah.
place I know that they had that before. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
You need to watch this show. Yeah, this show because and '90s ones they do a good job of
Hmm.
portraying Cyclops.
Yeah.
Than the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I know.
yeah. Well, especially this show. This show actually does do the brother thing.
Hmm. Yeah,
What
you
what's
mentioned his brother in the episode.
Yeah, so Alex, right? That's his
Hmm.
name.
Yeah.
So Alex Summer is in this show, and like they actually do the whole like his parents die, and then both of them are orphans. Like they actually do that in this show. He discovered, I think, his brother in the first season, I think,
Hmm.
and then in season two here, there's an episode where they actually are straying. I think like that episode. Summer fan. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah, because this show really like does a good job of making Summers be a great leader, but sometimes he's this very tragic character at the same time. Uh,
Hmm.
One of the things I love about the show is they like I never understood the whole Wolverine um being the main character. It makes more sense with Cyclops, and then here the show actually does it better because they make Wolverine be just the more sideline character. Like he's more of the
Hmm.
teacher, and I
Hmm.
like that more. And then here I like that Jean and Scott are more teenagers, and I like that we make Storm be the teacher, and it's like it just makes more sense
Hmm.
as a characters in X Men because I never liked the idea of like Cyclops versus Wolverine because it doesn't have a point to it really.
Hmm.
Than most rivals superhero.
Hmm.
Like the first one, they never did in season. So in this show, I really like that we really focus on Cyclops, and here I like how Cyclops, and especially like how we dive in a little bit of religions. Like I like when he talks to Rogue about the belief of angels out there, and like that's where he mentions his brother,
Hmm.
and I really like that dialogue, and I like how he's thank God that some form has kept his brothers alive, and I really like that scene. That
Hmm.
was definitely a very good and just deep dive of who Scott is as a person.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he's like he's a little uptight sometimes, and like he's just trying to be good and try
Hmm.
to follow the directions of his Savers school.
Hmm.
Uh, Yeah. Do you have any questions for me? If you were kind of confused about this episode. Um.
Um, I wasn't really confused by it, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess I
I'm just
looked
shocked
up.
you haven't
Oh,
seen the
sorry.
show.
Yeah, no, it's
No, no, that's good.
I've seen some of the '90s one because it's a classic, but
Oh yeah. Oh dear. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm up to season 3 now, and I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
Dark Phoenix saga.
Uh-huh.
And it's just funny when Xavier starts screaming. But I'm shocked they're doing the Dark Phoenix so well. So I'll give
Mm.
them that. So yeah, yeah, I think it's good. I gave you this episode because like I like the '90s show, and I'm happy that I'm like turning watching it for a project I'm doing. It's you know, I mean, it's based on the late the beginning of the '90s. Jim Lee and Chris Carter run of the X-Men. So and there's things that I don't care about that they do, like the whole Wolverine Jean thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I I think that show does a better job than the movies did, really. um, like I mean, they don't allow Wolverine to be together with Jean or Cyclops like that. But this show, I really like the direction of separating, like actually doing the effort what was introduced in the X-Men live action shows, so making the school actually be in school. So I like that this show actually made some of the X-Men be teachers. Like as I mentioned before, Storm and Wolverine are the teachers here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or what do you call it? Like uh, faculties that
Mm-hmm.
watch over the children in the institution, because they actually go to a school
Mm-hmm.
outside of Xavier's. Like it's more like a boarding school where they go
Okay.
there and then they like that's what they do in the show. And that's why you see some of the new mutants here, and then some of like the uncanny slash classic members put together into this weird melting plot that really works. And where Spike is great. He's an original character, and who is the one that's is with Storm. That's the nephew for Storm. So that's a totally original character, and I just like the direction here. And I like the way they do Rogue here. Both this and the '90s show does a really good job of going into the background of Nightcrawler, and well, this show does more the Nightcrawler background of his connection to Mystique. But Rogue in both of those versions does a good job of explaining that background too. This version learns that later on in the show of Mystique
Okay.
as being the
Mm-hmm.
mother.
Mm-hmm.
So and they do the more she runs the Brotherhood of Mutants as well in the show.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, where like they portray Magneto as the mastermind, and like he employs Mystique to run the Brotherhood and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
they also have a mention, but like a rundown like house they had to live.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Um, so what was your favorite aspect of this episode? What was your like favorite moment that got you into the show? Let me ask you that.
Yeah. I really liked the characterization of Angel. I don't
Hmm.
know. I liked that like what he did when he got powers was he just started fighting like street level crime. Which
Yep.
makes sense because I don't know. Angel, his only power is that he can fly, so it makes sense for him to do like small scale stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
and then I really liked that after he saved that little girl on the bridge, he like kept going back to the hospital to check in on her. Um,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just really showed that he like really cared. So I thought
Yeah.
that was a good like character thing.
Yeah. And I love the subtlety of it. Like he's like doing like the guardian angel of
Mm-hmm.
like looking over the kid, and
Mm-hmm.
then the kid, like of course when the child, the girl wakes up from a brief coma, of course, with the injury she's abstained from Magneto. um she told her mom and dad about how Angel was in her dreams, and like you usually do that when you're either sick or you got injured. You kind of have that delivery and say like, oh, I saw the angel. It's like I actually like how they actually did that, and like how Wharton was sort of like a guardian angel during this episode. So that
Mhm.
was a really cool Christmas episode that they sort of did. Um, yeah, I like one thing about this episode they did that you don't usually get with the X-Men stuff is seeing both sides try and convince a mutant, but then the mutant doesn't want to be part of it. Like I like how Angel doesn't want to be part of either Magneto or the Xavier. After he discovered
Mhm.
the girl survived, and I like how Scott says that he's not gonna come. He's saying no because of after this he's like he doesn't want to be part of that. So I really appreciate that demand because we don't see mutants deciding their own decision to like I like to stay away from this. This is not who I am. I'm not a soldier, to be this part of someone's dreams or be this radical rebellion group that wants to destroy all humans. Like I really like how we see that with Warrington. Um, like we do this with Alex as well, where he is still living with his adopted parents, and like he hasn't decided to join the Xavier School, but because it just isn't for him. So that's something this show actually does a really good job of addressing.
Mhm.
Because I don't know how these people agreed to join Xavier. The fact that you're gonna be a super soldier, fighting for the humanity that you don't particularly want to get into.
Mhm.
So, uh, but yeah, anything else we have to say about this episode? I Beast. I actually like Beast. Him quoting Shakespeare. Uh, and was it the Bible? That was a
Mhm.
funny scene. I do want to bring it up.
Yeah.
So when he was talking to Xavier, so that was really cool. So
Mhm.
any more thoughts on this Christmas special?
No.
I mean,
Um.
Christmas episode. I mean episode. You know.
Yeah. No.
So
I'm ready to talk about the Justice League.
okay, because that one at least has oh my god 3 storylines, and
Mhm.
that's gonna be love. All right, so I highly recommend for you, Will, to just have a chance to watch the show, binge watch it because it's really good. It's one of my personal favorite X
Mhm.
portrayals in media. So okay, so let's get into Justice League. Comfort and Joy. Look, as a DC fan, there were so many options I could give to Will. Like, there's like 2 Batman Christmas specials they have. Christmas with the Joker. They Holiday Nights. That's in the new Batman Adventures, and then there's a couple here and there in the live action shows. Uh, I picked Comfort and Joy because do you seen the Justice League show, right? So
Uh. Episodes. I haven't seen it all the way through.
all right,
Like.
so and
Yeah. Like as a kid, I
oh,
would catch certain
okay.
episodes. Yeah.
Okay, did you have the chance to see this? You seen this episode, right? Or this is your first time?
Yeah. No. I watched it for this, but yeah. And
Okay,
I knew. Yeah. I think I had seen it before.
okay, okay. So it's just kind of fight. So in this episode, this is written by Paul Dini, who's a great writer. He has done the 2 specials I mentioned in the Batman ones. So it was
Mhm.
no brainer. He wrote this, and it's one of the best Christmas episodes. I like this is a toss up between this is number 1 Christmas special in the DCAU of episodes of Christmas related things. Um, I just love it because it just hits home what Christmas is about, and like it does everything what a Christmas episode should do. Like especially Martian Manhunter. Like
Mhm.
best thing about this episode. Just because it's been like a year since his family and his whole race has died, and so it's cool to see him getting into the spirit of Christmas, and with Superman, which is cool. I gotta say, like, let's rank the segments that I like the most. So I mean, it's kind of like this order, like the Martian and Harn, the Flash is 2 for me, and then the Green Lantern and Hawkgirl one. Um, but that is also important because it leads into the finale of season 2 of Justice League. But we're not there yet. So, but how you rank the segments for you, Will? Um,
Uh, yeah. Um, Pretty highly. Yeah. No, it's definitely a really good special. I think it really touched on like common Christmas themes, much more so than the X Men episode that we watched. Um,
yeah, 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 it did. Now think about that. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it's weird. Like yeah, it's weird that they didn't went through it. They didn't went through with that, but I appreciate that about that episode because
mhm,
there were like other like Christmas themes that we don't really discuss too.
mhm,
In some of the
mhm,
other, you know, that's the thing I really appreciate the X-Men one. Now I don't want to discredit Comfort Joy. Like they do a really good job of just like I really appreciate now we're watching this of how like Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter are going through the same like arc in this episode, but it's different. Like um Hawkgirl doesn't understand the holiday season or fest like in her way.
mhm,
And then when Martian Manhunter, he is going to the same thing. He doesn't understand this in an emotional way. Because he's very cold and he's kind of like Spock, Star Trek. So I really appreciate that, like intertwined, but not like like very obvious direction with those two characters. I really appreciate that. So yeah, and I like the way they go out with those two characters in a good way with their arcs in this episode. Especially Martian. I really appreciate where we take him in this episode. It was touching when he starts seeing towards the end of the episode. Like that killed me.
mhm.
When he starts seeing, and the Kansan Superman hears that. So, but yeah, I mentioned like the segments. I said I don't know what like how you rank the segments do you like in this Confident Droid? Do you enjoy the Martian Manhunter first, and then second is the Flash or Hawkgirl one? Um,
Yeah. Martian Manhunter definitely first, and then yeah,
okay,
Flash second.
okay, because Flash, I just love because I just love that the Flash is helping the orphans and try to get this toy,
Hmm.
and, and then Art like out of all the villains, Archer Humanite helps him, and he creates this much more educated toy, and I can't believe they did it, and I love the touch of Flash giving him he did like a little peek, which is cool.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, oh God, I really like that one. Um, yeah, and I just like how he was very resourceful. Like I love that he went to the manufacturer and get the toy, and
Hmm.
I just really like the way the Flash handles things. Great episode to show who Flash is as a character. I just miss Wally West as the main Flash for me. No, I
Mm.
mean, no offense to Barry Allen, but Wally West is the Flash for me. So,
All right.
you know, but yeah, yeah. I mean, I like Barry Allen, but yeah, it's Wally West. Wally West is my first Flash. So, um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so then we get into hey say it, Green Lantern, and I really like the snow fight, the snowmobile fight.
Yeah, I liked that
Watching
too.
it, it's really cool. Yeah, I really like how they were very creative with his powers.
Hmm.
Like I totally forgot how like he does cannonballs. He has multiple hands that he's able to throw his enemy, of course, with Hawkgirl in this episode.
Hmm.
Like, oh my God. And I just love how he explained why he loves about, this Christmas season is like, and the snow. And it's like, I really enjoyed that like, conversation he had with Hawkgirl. And it's cool to see Hawkgirl use her mace
Hmm.
to splash him with the snow. Like, that was a good, I just like how that section really shows creatively the superhero powers in a fun way,
Hmm.
because we don't do that. We don't do that as often in superhero media. So do you um I I don't know, like, do you like the pairing of Hawkgirl and Green Lantern as a couple? Because they were officially a couple towards this episode. In this episode.
Um, yeah, I thought it worked. Yeah, it definitely seemed like Green Lantern was into Hot Girl's like kind of chaotic energy.
Yeah,
So
yeah. They it was like it was from the Wild Cards episode of the Joker and this season 2, and he got
mhm,
caught in the explosion, and they sort of got to hook up, and because like Green Lantern in the show was he's always like authoritarian, but like he always have the soft spot, and then Hawkgirl, she's sort of like Marsha Maher, she's not familiar with the Earth stuff, but like, she's sort of like Wonder Woman.
mhm.
Um, and so that like authoritarian, tough and gruff kind of fits to their personality. So, and
Mhm.
this is like a con episode before we get into like the three-parter Starcross when their relationship gets really tested, which I don't want to spoil. So I don't know. It's been so many years you've seen that three-parter finale for season 2. That it goes really like just not what I was expecting with the relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Um, I just wish we maybe put Hawkgirl and Green Lantern in a like Christmas thing instead of just going out to the galaxy. Like that was my minor complaint about this episode. It's like they won't go out to the galaxy, and it's like it's not trying to be a Christmas episode at that point, right?
Mhm.
What do you think about that, Will?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, all right, because I don't know. I just wish maybe Drell probably took her to some diner or something like that, and then her start to sing some sort of Christmas song or something like that. But I don't know. It works in this episode. She started to fight. Yeah, people they were going. So it was funny that it was funny that she Christmas thing source in this
Mhm.
bizarre alien way. So I like
Mhm.
that way. But yeah, so then we kind of transition to Martian Manhunter, and that's the episode I like the most. I really appreciate the contrast of how Superman was to him. Superman's in the Earth for so many years, and I just love the very small details of Clark and his connection to Christmas. Like I
Mhm.
love the dad explaining to the family, like, oh, when he was little, he was so into Christmas, and they had to put what was it, lead wrapping
Yeah,
for him
lead
to
wrapping
not to
paper.
see it. Yes.
Oh, and then there's the moment later where he's like looking under the tree and he's trying to use his X-ray vision on the presents, and they're still they still have
Yeah,
lead wrapping paper.
lead. Oh my god, I can't believe they went with that.
Mhm.
It's so funny, and he still believes in Santa Claus. I didn't catch this. It's like, then the mom say like, "Oh yeah, sure, honey." Like I never like.
Mhm.
I love how this episode like basically tell you that no, it's your parents giving yeah, presents, not Santa Claus. But they don't do it in like that kind of mean spirit way. They just do that kind of wink at the audience, which is cool. And I just love uh the other was it Marshmallow Hunter helping the girl like you know with the cookies and milk. I love that. Like he stretches arms. So when he was walking around in town, so to have some like what do you call it uh self thinking or something like that. Oh, did you catch the cookies he was eating? Martian
No,
Manhunter.
what was he
Okay,
eating?
so
Uh,
he
uh,
was, it was an Oreo. Um, but it's like a fake Oreo in their universe. In in the comics, John is a huge fan of Oreos and he loves to eat them. So I
mm,
like that
okay.
he actually did that, and he is there. Like that's like a cool Easter egg for your Martian fans. So that like I really appreciate they did that. I I also appreciate he helps find the girl in the forest. Um, it's in this episode, right? He saved the girl in the forest. Um, I did Wonder Woman appear towards the end of this episode? Will I?
No.
Okay, okay, different episode because I was checking in my notes right now, so I just want to make sure. So after he kind of strolls down in town, I like how you know he starts seeing the what he was seeing something from the church. Do you know that song he was singing towards the end of the episode? Um,
Uh,
I I
oh, I forget what they
think
were singing at the church, and then he was singing something in like Martian at the end.
yeah. Oh, one of his sort of like kind of cultural songs from his home planet. So that's what he
Mm-hmm.
was seeing. It was something from his from the Martian world, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was something like in the church he was listening to one of the choirs that was seeing something that was like in relation to church or something like that, which I don't know. So to speak. But yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed that section. Is there anything else I'm missing with the Martian funny part? Uh, that you like from the episode?
Um, I don't know. I just liked him
Yeah, I'm
like
trying to.
being with the Kents and just like seeing
Yeah,
like what Christmas meant to them.
yeah, like not being so. Yeah, I like how they were so nonchalant. They were not freaking out that he was a Martian. Um, so that was cool. Like I like how the pop say like, "There's we're now strangers or aliens in the house," you know. And I
Mm-hmm.
like how John, like his introduction to them, and then he say like, "Oh, I'm a Martian." Like they just had this like this is a very funny long pause, and then they took him into the house and say, "Hey, we're now strangers to aliens in this house." So I really like that moment. That really shows how the Kents are
Mm-hmm.
just so down to earth and not
Mm-hmm.
freak out with this alien. Because I mean Clark was an alien too, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I do appreciate the mention of Supergirl and like she's going to with Batgirl, which I
Mm-hmm.
really like because it's a nice touch to the universe because they did team up in the new Batman adventures. So I really appreciate they are continuing that sort of relationship in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, and then I say it. I think one of the things I really appreciate is that like Martian Hunter is sort of similar to Superman. Like they both are the last, or I mean, Superman is not the last of his kind. With Supergirl and Jamazot, but whatever. I like how
Mm-hmm.
we put him with Superman because he sort of is the last person of his race, and I like how he sort of gets what's going on with the human people and this weird holiday that he hasn't really experienced. I think so. Um, but yeah. So is there anything else to say about Comfort and Joy, Will?
Um, did we didn't really talk about the Flash storyline that much, at least.
Oh yes. Yeah. Well, let's get into that because I really like the Flash. I think
Hmm.
what he does here is great. I really like the dialogue he talks to the Ultra Hypernite about how there's a thing that you know a lot of us want to have in that moment, and and he's trying to explain Ultra Hypernite. Like these kids do need to have something they to have a choice to because everyone has their ups and downs, and I really appreciate what the Flash is because I like because in this show the Flash sometimes comes out as self-centered, and in this episode and his centric one in Unlimited, you see his other side of being very very care to his city of Central City, and being the people's hero than just being this like he's like a god to everyone. Like he's trying to be a people's hero and like tries to help his community. Like I really appreciate that
Hmm.
in this episode. Like he's trying to help his this orphanage to get this gift so like these kids can be happy. And I like also with Orchard and I how he's so disdain about culture and like how they're providing the history of it, and like I like how he turned into that rubber rap dog into this like lecture thing, and the kids like I never expected the kids to like that
Hmm.
when the rapper dog doesn't do the rapping, instead it does some lecture thing, and they like come to listen. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know if you were thinking that they were going to go there. Like I think I remember I first saw this episode. I thought the kids would like say boo and that they're gonna destroy the toy like that way. But then I was shocked when they actually sit down and listen, and they were like so amazed, which I was kind of so yeah, and I really appreciate Ultra Midnight wearing the hat when they go to the orphanage, and like Flash has the beard as Santa Claus. So I thought that was a funny gag. But yeah. What do you think about the Flash segment? Do you like what's the best thing do you love about this Flash part?
I like that he actually is able to talk Ultra Humanite into like helping him fix the toy and give it to the children.
Yeah, I was
Um,
shocked about that.
yeah, no, I thought it was a very good like Christmas episode kind of thing of like coming together. Um,
Yeah, yeah, this one was coming together, and then Martian Manhunter, you could say, like learning to like kind of learns to be in that be like be part of this like very festive eh, moment, and then
mhm.
John and Green Lantern, or John on sorry, Green Lantern and our girl, it's like being together, belonging together as well. It's like this is belong together, and then Flash is like working together, and then third is like uh, seize the moment. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, it's a good point you're saying. Like with the Flash convincing Ultra Knight to work, help him, you know, get this toy fixed. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, and I did like in Angus and with that Garrett too. I like how Flash gave Ultra Knight the tree, and I love the moment when he say like I had this when he was a little baby, and he say thank you to him, and like oh that killed me. When he says that, it's such a good Christmas moment between two characters. So anyway, anything else to say about Comfort and Joy? I think we covered that pretty well.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah. So yeah, we're entering the Christmas uh Festivus. This is 2022. Any last words you want to say, Will, about 2022?
Just enjoyed talking to you every other week. And hope you have had a good year and that you have a good 2023.
Yeah, same here. Same for you. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't believe it's been 2 years. Will 2 years doing this channel. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. Yeah. I am very happy about 2022. It was definitely better than last year. Uh, thank goodness.
Hmm.
I will to connect to the topics. I think this year was a good year for DC Marvel. I think they had their ups and downs. Uh, I'm hoping we uh yeah be somewhat consistent with the content and for next year
Hmm.
for those films and television DC Marvel stuff. Uh, but yeah, but I gotta say I'm very excited for 2023. Uh, to start another year, a fresh start yet again. So yeah, and I want to thank you, buddy, for being a great host. You've been my joy this last 2 years, and some of the rough times I was having in this year, last year. So it was always a pleasure talking to you every week. So
Yeah.
um,
Same to you.
yeah, so so I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast and this channel. Of course, me and Will be back again. Of course, Will, I think for our return for 2023, I think we should go back and talk about Agents of Shield season 6. I think we
Sure.
need
Yeah.
to, because next year, well, I say entry this year, 2023 is their 10th anniversary. Uh, when they started airing in 2013.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Oh my god. So so we're gonna start doing that. That would be a great way to start 2023. And and then when we get to 7, we pretty much wrapped up, and we can get into stuff for Agent of Seal for 2023. So So but yeah. So thank you everyone for joining me and Will for this just relax like Christmas episode. I didn't want nothing to be so like another movie discussion or TV thing. I just want something simple. Have a very relaxed Christmas episode. I mean, it's Christmas. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's Eve and Christmas holidays. I hope your presents are wonderful, but also have an awesome time with your family and friends. So me and Will, of course, will be back for in 2023 with new stuff and new content, and of course, have the multiple podcasts. So happy holidays, and of course, happy New Year's.